Hey there, and welcome back. This is going to be about how to prep all the cabin servos to get ready to install them. You've seen me prepare the throttle servo, and it's basically done. So now I'm going to do the rudder and the elevator and get them ready to install. First off, the rudder. First thing to do with it is take off the white wheel that we don't need. Okay, don't lose the little screw. Don't need the white wheel. And because it's a rudder and it has a nose gear, we need a different servo arm. We'll dump out all the servo arms here. And because of the size and location, let's see, yeah, because of the size and location, I'm going to use this 2-arm servo. It's longer than the 4-arm and is I don't think I need the extra length of this red one that comes with the high-tech, so I think I'm just going to use a 2-arm servo, and I won't need the single-arm servo. So that'll be the servo I use, and while I'm at it here, I think I'll go ahead and put on the grommets. Grommets are important because they provide anti-vibration, and that's important for nitro-powered airplanes. We're going to make sure you put them in the right direction. There is only one way to put them on. And if you do put them in backwards, it'll not sit right. I also have sitting here all the other tools that I need. I've got my, because we're going to drill pilot holes into the wood in there, I want to strengthen those pilot holes. So I've got my CA glue over there, my CAD bonder, and some roll of toilet paper, roll of paper towels. And so got that, and got my collection of tools here, and in the bag in there I have the quick connects and that I'm going to need to put on the servo arms. Okay, so now those are all in place. And the other tool is my cup of tea this morning. That tea is called Golden Monkey. It's very good. Okay, so now that I got that done, I'm going to get the elevator out and undo the round arm. But then the next thing I'm going to do, don't throw that away. Next thing I'm going to do is plug these into the receiver. Okay, so this is the elevator, and I'm going to unplug them in a little bit. So after I unplug them, I'll label them. I'll label them like you've seen how I label them. So I won't do that on camera. So there's the elevator, and here is the rudder. Okay. because we got to center the servos. So that's the elevator, that's the rudder. Okay. Battery is plugged in. Turn the radio on. Radio is sitting right there. And radio is up and running. Flip the switch on the receiver. Okay. Got orange lights on everything. Okay. That means these are centered. Okay, so rudder. I'll do the rudder first. Check it. Okay, looks like it's moving good. Now the rudder is going to go right like, let's see, probably right like that. Yeah. Okay, so the rudder's going to go like that, and the elevator is going to go opposite. So they're going to sit in there opposite one another, so the arms don't interfere. So I'm going to put the rudder this way, toward the front, with the post toward the front. And now that that's in place, I can put the arm on and get it 90 degrees, because this side is going to have the nose wheel steering and that side is going to have the rudder. And I'll just lightly tighten the screw back on. Actually, I guess I can go ahead and tighten it down. That's good. I don't crank those down anyways. They're not going to come out. So now for the elevator, I am going to use the single arm again. And so let's verify that the elevator is working. Yes, it is. And the elevator arm being centered is going to be like that. That's not quite straight enough. So sometimes I like to flip this thing around, see if it's any straighter if you go the other direction. And it's not. Okay, that's okay. So that's now in place. Get the rough side on. And put in the screw for the servo arm. Now I'll adjust the length of this servo arm later after I get it in. Okay, so those are good. All right, so these are centered. I don't need the receiver anymore. Turn the receiver off. Turn the radio off. Don't need it. Everything is centered. And I can go ahead and unplug these because I can tell which one's which by the arm on it. So that is the rudder. And this is the elevator. And that can go over here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is put the quick connects on the rudder. So let me do that, and I'll you see me put quick connects on. I'll be right back. Okay, so while I was off camera, I got the grommets in and things put on, but I found out something interesting. As is my usual way of doing things, I test things before I get on camera and say what's right. Even then, what's on camera doesn't always go right, as you've seen. So I've discovered that if you use that adjustable arm, that adjustable arm sits up just high enough that it blocks the rudder push rod, and you can't cut it off because of how it works. So I just decided to take a two-prong servo arm, cut one side off, and it's down far enough, and it won't be a problem. I've also labeled everything. So this is the, here we go, elevator, ELEV. And this is the rudder, and this is the throttle. And by the way, these push rods are about 5/64 size push rod. There's a slightly less than 5/64. There's a tool you can buy from Hobby Code called the Servo arm. Let's see, servo horn drill. Okay, it looks like that, a little drill. It is somewhere between 1/16 and 5/64, and is just the right size for these push rods. And so what you do is, when you get this, by the way, I took this off, centered it with the radio and so forth, and then you drill that out, okay, and then these nice long push rods go in very easily, and that will work well for my Z-bend. The other thing I saw, I don't know how I'm going to fix it yet, is that this little piece out here that holds where the wing bolt goes. By the way, I also tested how far down the wing bolt goes, and it doesn't interfere because it's sitting right over where the elevator rod comes through. So I put one half of the wing on, slide it in there, tighten it all down, and it's going to clear. But what I'm concerned about is how am I going to get to the screw here? It's going to be kind of hard to get to that screw, so we'll see. So the first thing we're going to do is put these in, and they back here they need to go in a particular order. Okay, I'm going to put the elevator in first. Now, I'm not going to worry about the wire because this is just to drill the pilot holes. Okay, so I'm going to put this in, and so that the elevator goes in like that, and slide it sort of all the way over, and then the rudder with its two quick connects really does need to go in front. So you can see the post is pointing toward the tail on that. Okay, so the post is back toward the tail. This post is going to point toward the front. And again, I'm not going to worry about where the wires go. We'll get the wires out later when we get ready to put these in finally. The battery and the receiver and all that's going to have to be between this and the tank up front, so we'll see how well that works. Okay, so now that that's in place, the other one drops in place. Now, the gap between them needs to be as much as possible. So in order to separate those, I created a little wedge. This is a door and window shim, and I cut it off and stick it in there like that. Okay, get them where I want it, and that just sort of holds it in place like that. Okay, so now those are good and solid and in place, and getting to the two, I can get three in without a problem. Getting the fourth one in is going to be a problem. And I'm going to go ahead and put the throttle one in, because we need to drill pilot holes with my pin vise here, and then use the CA glue to harden them. And then the prep for this will be done. Oh yeah, by the way, let's see. Yep. Okay. That barely fits. In fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and loosen this sliding arm slide it back about halfway. Fortunately, this one's easy to get to. And get that wire all the way down in. Get in there. Okay, that's good. And about halfway is about where it's going to end up anyways. That arm can't go all the way that way because it hits the side of the fuselage. Okay. So now that that's in place, I think I might have, yes I do have, a tinier little shim over here. There he is. Okay. Having little shims is nice when you're putting servos in. This is the tiny little shim I normally use to put in one like that. So now that holds the throttle servo in place. So I got a shim right there, okay, and a shim right there, and that just holds everything in place. So now that those are all locked in, I can use the pin vise and drill every hole. That's 12 holes. I don't need to do that on camera. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm used the pin vise, got all the hole drills except the two that I can't reach, and I'm not sure I'm going to do about that yet. So I'm using my nice pair of tweezers that will hold the little screw in place while I put it in the hole. Take my nice drill and drill it in, not very far, about halfway. Okay. And since there's 12 of these to do, I'll only do 2 on camera, and you can figure out the rest. Okay, again, you're just trying to get the pilot hole threaded a little bit, and then we're going to harden them up if we pull all of these out, and harden it up with some CA. Be right back. Okay, I was able to get 12 holes drilled. The last 2 were kind of crooked, but they'll go in likely. So I've got my bottle of thin viscosity. I'm using the mercury adhesive today. Thin viscosity with an tip applicator on it. Got my debonder to clean it. Got everything else out of the way. So I'm going to put 2 drops in every hole, and then take the I either use a straight pin or a piece of a small paper clip after I put the 2 drops in to open it up to keep it free, so that the hole doesn't skim over with the CA. So I'm going to do that. That'll be it for this, and in the subsequent videos I'll show you how we install these one at a time and get them set up. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.